All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. You made it. It's another week. It's another Wednesday. It's Hump Day Hangout, or Hump Day Meetup, I'm sorry. And glad you're here. Glad you made another week. And you made it. Many of you made it to your first Halloween. So we're going to talk about that. How was your first Halloween? How that went. I'm going to report on mine. Definitely a sugar-free Halloween in this household, which was great. And I've got a special guest with me today, Dave Sonnier. He's a fellow veteran, Navy veteran. And many of you know I'm a Carnivore Soldier, but I did start my military career in the Navy. So I was on fast attack submarines for 6 years before I got out, and then came back in when the war broke out in 2004, 2003. So let me bring Dave in. Dave, like that shirt, man?
Thanks, buddy. Yeah.
Yellow's looking good on you.
I know. I don't know why I like that color, but I'm glad I got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I got back in. I've been running really late. I got back in. I had a long ride today. It was cold and windy, and then I had to rush and pick up some groceries, and finally got everything done. And I looked at my watch. I was like, "Holy cow! I'm gonna be cutting it close." So
yeah.
Anyway, glad I made it.
Yep, you made it. So how was your Halloween, man?
Halloween was good. My daughter, son-in-law, and grandson live about a mile from the house in a little different neighborhood. I hung out with them, and I did really well. Of course, they were handing out candy, but I did well. I did not really. I'll say this: I ate one little wrapped up. What is it like? What are those little chewy
taffy?
Like one little wrap, small little taffy, and that was all. My grandson gave me one and said, "Hey, Grandpa, have one." And I said, "Okay, here, I'll eat one with you." But that was it. I mean, maybe 10, 15 calories of sugar, I guess. I don't know if that much, but I didn't eat any candy. No, I didn't grab any bags of candy and start gorging. That's for sure.
Oh, I didn't either. UK Carnivore guy just joined us. It's really late there, guys. It's like 5 hours ahead of us, so it's midnight, dude. If you got to work tomorrow, bail out. You don't have to hang out for the whole thing, but thanks for showing up. That's great. We had a live stream today, so if you didn't catch it, there's a live stream with me and the UK carnivores, a couple of them. Carnivore for Life, I think, is one of them, and then UK Carnivore guy. We had a great discussion, so definitely check that out. We had some good stuff to talk about. UK Carnivore guy put on a real good stream with some great questions and answers. So if you didn't check that out after this is done, you can go check that out. It's on my or on his site, either one. And also go like and subscribe to UK Carnivore.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's worth watching for sure. All right. Oh, we got Richard. Richard was here for the UK stream too. Good to see you, Richard. So for my Halloween, I did not support the sugar companies because now I'm so adamantly against them. I bought no candy, which is great. And I bought those bracelets. I don't know if I have them up here. I had them. Anyway, I have these, they're the neon Chemlite bracelets. And they were a huge hit with the kids. Kids loved them. Parents loved them. I would break them up, or they let them break them up if they wanted to, and put them on their wrists. And everyone loved them. And no candy was handed out. Didn't support sugar companies. I was super happy that I could still participate. Go ahead.
I thought about you last night because I was looking through the grandson's little bag of candy, and he had some gifts that weren't candy, like a little pack of stickers and some like necklaces, and I'm thinking maybe there's carnivores living in this neighborhood that I don't know about,
Or at least people that think kids have enough sugar, or I remember growing up. I don't know if you do this, Dave, but I used to watch Jack LaLanne as a kid in the morning. Oh yeah. Because I'd get up, I was waiting for the cartoons to start. To be honest, I wasn't like into fitness, but he was on, and then the cartoons would start, right? Because they always, back before we had everything play on demand, this is what we did. We worked on the TV schedule. So Jack LaLanne was huge anti-sugar, huge. So he would always talk about getting off sugar. And, maybe some people are just anti-sugar. That's probably not a bad thing. So Sandra McDonald says it must take a special kind of indoctrination to make someone get into a tin can and go where there's nothing but sea. If you're ever claustrophobic, I'd love to hear more on the topic. One day I'll talk about it. On a submarine, yeah, you get a little claustrophobic. On a ship, at least you can see the horizon. You can get up, you can go up, right? If you're I was what they call a snipe, which is an engineer. Okay, snipes. Yeah. Those of you who didn't grow up in America, snipes are legendary birds that no one ever sees, right? And we used to send people on snipe hunts when I was a Boy Scout, trying to find a snipe, because there's no such thing, I don't think, but maybe there is, but no one's ever seen one. So the engineers, no one ever saw us except for when it was time to come up and eat. And when we came up, we smelled worse than everybody else usually.
They were easy to spot.
What's that?
They were easy to spot. They had the pasty complexion from being below deck for weeks at a time.
Yeah. Well, on the submarine, everyone had that complexion. So there was no, yeah. All right. Dottie watched our live today. So what about you, Dave? Did you ever watch Jack LaLanne when you were a kid?
Man, yeah, I remember him coming on a lot. I used to think his pants were so cool. He had those gym pants with that elastic strap that went under the arch of his foot, I think. So they were kind of stretched super straight out,
Yeah.
And his shoes were kind of that loafer style, this kind of odd loafer style from what I remember. But yeah, I remember him. I thought he was really cool.
Yeah, he had an interesting workout outfit for sure. He was ahead of his time. We could say that for sure.
Yeah. And then his wife as well. Every now and then his wife would be on the show, and she had this very, set early, like 70s vintage type workout costume on.
Yeah. It was a great show. Fitness oriented. It was the precursor to the 80s, which became a fitness craze, right? Where we had what's her name? I forget the Hanoi Jane Fonda, get her video out and everything, and and fitness became I think that was the beginning. So it's interesting because that was like the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. That's when we transitioned to this this new food pyramid. It's also when we really started focusing on the body as a physics problem, where it's calories in, calories out, right? And no difference between calories, like calories are calories. So just more calories out than calories in, you're going to lose weight. And that was the transition time when everyone went to this craze of working out, trying to lose calories, right? Instead of focusing on, it's really not a physics problem of calories in, calories out. It's really a biochemistry problem of what calories do when they get in you, like what different calories do, right? And I think that's the big change we're seeing now, that people are starting to recognize, doctors are starting to recognize it, and even large organizations are having to acknowledge it, at least, that sugar is not the same as fat when you eat it. So anyway, I think that's kind of interesting. During the talk earlier today, I said that this carnivore way of eating is really our Copernicus moment, right? Where you had Copernicus and Galileo. If you don't know that, they were two astronomers that basically, Copernicus came up with a theory and Galileo backed it based on scientific evidence that the Earth was not the center of the galaxy, that the Earth actually orbited the sun. And of course, all the political powers that be, which were the church and all governments, kings, royalty, were all against them. And in fact, these guys did jail time and suffered horribly for even suggesting that this was the case, even though they had scientific evidence backing it up. Well, finally, that they couldn't refute the evidence forever, and finally that argument won. I think that's what we're going to see here with carnivore. What do you think, Dave? What are your feelings on that, or thoughts on that?
Yeah, just in the past year, the amount of YouTube channels that have sprung into action that are carnivore related. I mean, I've noticed that quite a bit, and I noticed there's a lot of followers on a lot of these channels, especially the real popular superstars. Dr. Chafee, Ken Berry, Dr. Baker. Those guys have massive followings, and the young gal man, I can never remember her name. She's been carnivore for like 10, 15 years.
Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan, man, she has got. I was looking at her followers yesterday. She's got a huge following. And Steak and Butter Gal, up in the Pacific Northwest. Those people have got like mega followers, and it's getting really popular. Matter of fact, I got a young lady very interested in carnivore. You know, she lives locally. You know, I run into her once in a while. She was asking me how I lost so much weight. I was telling her about the keto diet, and she was familiar with it. She goes, "Oh yeah." She brought up the real popular doctor on Instagram. Man, I never remember his name, but he does he kind of incorporates honey and fruit now in his diet. You know.
Dr. Saladino.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Saladino. Anyway, she brought up him, and I said, yeah. I said he's. I guess you would say he's more keto now. You know, if anything, he might even go over keto with the amount of carbs he takes.
He's more whole food. But yeah,
I dropped a few more names, and I mentioned Kelly Hogan to her, and she actually was jotted it down and said, "I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look her up." I said, "Yeah, you probably really identify with her channel because she's very, very, very popular and got a magnetic personality, you know."
Yeah, and she got a great story. And one of the things I love about her is she did dirty carnivore, which is not grass-fed, pure, like as Dr. Berry says, panda massage meats and everything. She was doing burger patties, and she still does, from McDonald's, which is low quality meat. And you got to be honest, it is. That's okay though. You still get amazing results because your body is our bodies are awesomely made. I mean, whether you're an evolutionist or you're a Christian, I'm a Christian, so I believe we were created, but it doesn't matter. You can acknowledge that our bodies are pretty amazing devices. I mean, we're biochemical engines. And when you put even close to the right food in there, we just like take off like a dragster going down that quarter mile, right?
Right.
And I mean, look at Dave. You're ripped. You're riding these bikes races all the time. I mean, I'm back the weight I was in the 90s, and I'm not even working out anymore. I'm walking. I haven't done push-ups this month or last month. I didn't do any push-ups last month, not one. I did not work out one time in the last month, and my body is just maintaining perfect 234 pounds. It's like it's designed to, right?
I started doing push-ups again, so
I'm going to.
Yeah, I like, because I do a lot of cycling. My lower body, like my legs, calves, my butt, they get a really good workout, my hamstring. But I really don't work out a lot of my upper body like I used to years ago when I used to, work out a lot. But I started doing push-ups. Yeah,
People are commenting.
Huh?
People are commenting. UK carnivore guy said you look like he couldn't beat you on an arm wrestling. But maybe that's why I called him skinny earlier, so maybe that's why.
I used to do a lot of powerlifting when I was in the Navy, and I think some of my structure is still there from the powerlifting days. That was a long time ago though. But and I lifted weights a lot, but yeah, my weight loss is pretty much plateaued. It seems like I'm just at that 174, 175 weight, and yeah.
So when were you at 174, 175 before this diet? How long ago was that?
Like I actually had to break out an old. I broke out an old photo album because I remembered I took a picture where I commented. I jotted something down on the back, but I couldn't find it. But I was weighing 175 in about the 10th grade. Because in the 11th grade or the 10th grade, I started lifting weights. I had bought a little weight set, and I probably weighed a little bit less than that, but I do remember weighing about 175 in 10th grade. And then maybe by the time I graduated, I was about 180, maybe that much. But yeah, I have to go back to like 9th grade, 10th grade. Yeah, I know. And I've dropped 2 shirt size. Like this is a medium.
I know. You told me that.
Yeah, I was wearing, like when I was weightlifting, I wore extra large. When I was doing a lot of weightlifting in the Navy and working out and stuff like that. And then I dropped down to like a large, but then, I mean, down here it was starting to get snug on shirts that were large. So,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, holy cow, man, my gut's getting huge. So, you know, I'm 62 now, you know, I'm not as young as I used to be. So I really need to be, you know, I need to be I don't want to work out with weights like I used to, you know, I just want to keep myself in good shape. But I don't think I look bad for being 62
No,
at
no, you
all.
look great. Hey,
Most of my friends are terribly overweight.
I want to call out Carnivore Cure here. He's got a channel too. This guy's lost a ton of weight. I think he was like 700 pounds or something. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carnivore Cure. But he's lost hundreds of pounds and he's well on his way to being cured from all his ailments. So,
Man,
really great guy. Got a great channel. Follow him, like and subscribe. Again, the UK Carnivore guy too. I want to share one other guy. You know, every time I do a show, I always like to focus on another carnivore YouTube content creator and spotlight him. So we're going to go ahead and spotlight this guy here, Carnivore Cabbie. Now, Carnivore Cabbie was, I think he was the English carnivore or something, but he changed his channel. So I'm redoing him. This is Mike. Go ahead and like and subscribe the Carnivore Cabbie. He's got 1.97 thousand, 1,970 subscribers, but he was like a bus driver in England, and I think he still is, or a cabbie. If you've ever been to London, the cabbies are pretty crazy out there, and they know everything about the city. It's pretty cool. But driving in a London cab is an experience for sure. So if you ever get out there, check that out. I don't know if he's in London, but I can tell you it's pretty amazing. It's an experience. But anyway, this guy's got a great dry sense of humor. I grew up watching Monty Python and Benny Hill, so I really appreciate that. I think probably Dave did too. We're that age where we used to watch that on public television on a regular basis. And he's got that dry sense of humor. He's a great carnivore. And we're looking forward to seeing some more videos from him pretty soon. So that's my spotlight. I'm going to drop that out now. Dave, did you ever watch Monty Python growing up and Benny Hill?
Not Benny Hill, but Monty Python. I saw a lot of their skits on probably PBS. I think that's right. And then I saw a couple of their movies from in the late 70s, maybe early 80s.
Yeah.
A couple of them, you know, as I can remember. But
Life of Brian and the Holy Grail one, which is
that's the one I remember most was Holy Grail. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy that you just brought up, the Brit. I did watch the interview with him, and I did check out his videos, and I'm subscribed to him. So if you just so he's probably online monitoring this or watching it. You know, I did enjoy some of his videos. I haven't seen them all, but I did subscribe.
Cool. Yeah. Everyone like and subscribe to these guys. Carnivore Cure is a big one. Let's see. Priming now. I've eaten 36 eggs a day plus 2 pounds of meat for the last 16 days. Wow, that's a lot of calories, man. And lost 8 pounds. See that? That's the thing. Because calories in, calories out is a complete lie. It's a fabrication. Now, if you do starve yourself of calories, you will lose weight, but it won't be the weight you probably want to lose. You're probably going to start losing muscle tissue. I forget they call it. Is it when your protein gets broken down into sugars? Anyway, so you can definitely do that. So you definitely want to eat. You know, I didn't count any calories when I did this diet. I ate whenever I was hungry. I ate to satiety. So I ate throughout the day when I first started with a lot of snacks, but I only ate things that were animal-based and salt and water. What about you, Dave? Did you ever count calories or anything when you did this?
Not when I went carnivore, but I was counting calories just prior to that when I was kind of keto.
Yeah, keto, you have to. You have to do macro.
And I was just walking around starving all day. I'm like, what? I'm already at 1,800 calories? No way.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, oh my God. I was starving to death, you know? But I got a good, like today is a good example of satiety. For right before I went riding, I ate a pound of like 70, 30 type ground meat, you know?
Yeah.
And it made a lot of fat. And I wanted to get all that fat in too. So I scrambled in about 6 eggs into that leftover fat and scramble it all up. And I could barely finish that. It's like I was eating it. I'm thinking, bro, man, this is awesome. It's good. And then all of a sudden, like a snap, like all of a sudden, like that's it. I could not, if I would have tried to force one more bite, and I only had maybe 2 bites of eggs left, and I could not put those last 2 bites down. I was so stuffed. A pound of ground meat, all the fat that came with that, and then about 6 eggs. And the light, I mean, it's like there was no way. So I just really finished it. I had a little bit left. And then about an hour or 2 later, I was biking, but all of a sudden, I came back in after riding, and I was like, man, I'm hungry for another pound of ground meat all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But I made a steak, I had a New York strip steak and the rest of those eggs, like 3 or 4 bites of eggs I didn't eat,
I had a ribeye today for dinner, which was awesome. And I had eggs and bacon for breakfast today. I don't usually do, but I had only a couple eggs left. I wanted to get them out of my fridge. I'm going to go shopping tomorrow. So I made eggs and bacon, and I did over easy eggs, but I melted butter on top of them because I wanted extra fat, right? And bacon is really good. So look, Carnivore Cure started at 715 pounds. He's down 258 pounds from that in 11 months. It's
I saw an interview with him, and it's amazing how much weight he lost.
And he's eating all those eggs and everything. It's just mind-blowing, right?
I think he was interviewed by Dr. Baker, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was, I believe. Mike Carnivore Cabbie is a great guy. Yes, that's the guy that's Carnivore Cabbie. He is a great guy. You guys definitely need to check that out. Yes, that's gluconeogenesis. That's what it is. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, you're right. That's when your proteins break down into sugars because you're not eating enough. So here's the deal. I mean, I don't advocate making yourself fast, especially when you start this diet. You need to eat and listen to your body. You have to learn your hunger signals and eat your meals as you need to. And then you'll just naturally start fasting because you won't be hungry in the morning. So if you're actually listening to your body, eating whenever hungry and eating to satiety, you'll find that you'll skip meals. And that's natural fasting. And that's the fasting that's healthy. But when you're like hungry and I'm going to skip breakfast and my hunger pains will go away. No. Wrong way. In my opinion, I say, go ahead and eat, listen to your body. You will get to the point where you're going to skip meals because you wake up and you have no hunger pains. And as soon as you do, you go eat, right, Dave? I mean, that's what I do.
I just, a lot of times I don't eat breakfast until like my first meal of the day, technically breakfast, I guess you could say, would be 10:30, 11. And, that's typically going to be 6 scrambled eggs and 2 or 3 tablespoons of lard. And I might crumple in some bacon that I baked in the oven, but if not, it might maybe a slice of cheese melted in there, maybe not. But 6 scrambled eggs is usually my first meal. And if there's any leftover any leftover pot roast from, like I usually cook a couple of pot roasts during the week.
Yeah,
I'll throw in a little bit of, I'll mix in a little bit of pot roast in there, but that's it until 3 or 4 o'clock. And then I have, maybe a steak. I like New York strip. I like every now and then I'll have New York strip, or I'll have the pot roast. And I also started eating a lot of those chuck eye steaks, which are kind of like ribeyes, but they're dirt cheap, man.
It's a continuation of the cut. It's the end of the ribeye. So it's part of the chuck eye is actually part ribeye, and then it goes into a tougher.
There's a lot of fat on there.
There's still a lot of fat. They're really good. So we got Dottie Welch has some confusion about fat. So yeah, there's people that talk about this. So here's the deal. My opinion on fat, because I have eaten the fattiest cuts of meat I can. I started at 280 pounds, March 22nd, and dove in just eating fatty foods. Now, the importance of fat, there's several of them, but one is it gives you satiety. It fills you up. So it triggers your hunger and cease eating, like Dave said when he said, I can't eat anymore. That's fat that tells you that. So you need to have a lot of fat in your food. And that's why this is a high fat diet. This whole diet is a fat diet. You need, and fat is going to be your main source of energy. because you're not having any sugar. So if you don't have enough fat, you run out of energy, your proteins are going to start breaking down, and you don't want that. So what you want to do is make sure you have a high fat diet that'll fill you up. Also, the fat's used by your body in a very healthy way to generate all of your nutrients that you need, all of your, there's definitely, I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, but I know from all the doctors and nutritionists I've listened to that, that fat is vital to make all your vitamins and nutrients that you need. Your body breaks down and makes all these things. So it's pretty important. So what do you think, Dave? Can you speak on fat?
The fat's very important, and it's better to eat more fat than you need. Yeah, okay, you also regulates your digestion. If you don't eat enough fat, because you're not eating fiber and vegetables and fruits, your body needs that high fat content in everything you eat, so that you can anything excess if you overeat fat, it only goes into your stool, and if
you'll know
if you're eating too much fat, you might have a slightly loose stool, but when you're not eating enough fat, when you might feel constipated or your stool is just not that soft, it's hard stool, and it's kind of hard to pass. That's when you know you're not eating enough fat. And you really, because of this type of diet we're eating without any fiber, fruits, or vegetables, you need to make sure the fat is way up there, and way more fat than you think you need is really
I add butter to everything, and I do slices of butter throughout the day. If I'm gonna have a snack, I'll just swing by the fridge, shave off a slice of butter, like a tablespoon, and just eat it. That's 100 calories really quick. It's pure fat, and it's like a superfood. It really is. It has all these nutrients that you need. Hey, so Kat just jumped on. She was gonna be here, but she's moving, so she'll be here in a future Wednesday again. But Katerina, Meat Fueled Living, everyone, if you haven't, go check her stuff out, like and subscribe. She's a over 50 U.S. Army vet female, so she has a lot of good perspective on stuff that I can't talk about because I've never been a female. So not going to pretend anything I know anything about that. But she has a good perspective on that, and she documents. It's kind of like a journal where she documents her weight loss and mental health and all these things that have changed. And really good, valuable stuff. And also recipes. She does some good recipes too. Yeah. So thanks for chiming in there.
I like her videos.
Yeah. And some people are saying hi to her. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's counterintuitive. It makes sense if you understand the biochemistry process, right? That our body is designed to run on this. I think, they call this diet a fasting mimicking diet. And the assumption was, modern assumption is that our body is normally in a fed state and a fasted state is not normal. But if you look at anthropologists and like Dr. Chafee, he believes his theory, which I kind of buy into, is the natural state of a human, of a Homo sapien, was fasted. And they fed when they made a kill. So if you look at tribes right now that are actual hunter-gatherers that are out there, ancestral tribes like the Inuit or the Maasai, they may go days without eating while they're hunting. And then when they hunt, they do a kill and they feast. And I think that kind of leans towards that argument that we're supposed to be in a fasted state. So we can eat this way because we have plenty of food. We have, artificially abundant food, right? Always at our fingertips. But if we eat the high-fat diet, then we are in a fasted state, even though we're staying full. So it's really awesome.
Can I add something a little bit?
Please do.
Yeah, I was watching a really good video with Dr. Chafee, and he was actually interviewed by the young gal we were talking about.
Kelly Hogan?
Kelly Hogan. She was interviewing him today. I don't know if it's an old video, but she brought up the thing about fasting, and he said, look, I don't stress fasting. I mean, the whole point of fasting is to get yourself into ketosis, but when you're eating carnivore, you're in ketosis pretty much nonstop. So he said, I don't try to fast, but I end up having fast because, I go so long between meals that I'm technically fasting, but, you're always in ketosis. So that's one of the good things. You really don't have to set aside a day or two to say, look, I'm going to fast for a couple of days. People that eat a lot of carbs might want to do that because you're not in ketosis or something.
So there are examples where I think fasting is good, and it's like if you look at Carnivore Cure, he's got 700 pounds, got down several hundred. He's gonna have a lot of loose skin, and you can do scheduled fasting. It's not daily fasting, but you do like a multi-day fast where basically, from what I understand, I've never been there, but I've talked to people that have, that helps with them with their loose skin being basically cannibalized. It's a catabolic state, right? Where it starts breaking down a lot of that and regenerating that skin. So, that kind of fasting is different, right? That's a special case. That's not me. That's not you, Dave. That's not a regular person who just lost 20 pounds or 25 pounds. That's someone who has a lot of excess skin, when you're looking at like Shaun White or something, where I think then, and also you don't start out doing that, right? You start out, decrease your inflammation, lose the weight, get your mind right. And you do that just through eating, like I said in the beginning. Even if you're really heavy, you start that way. And then once you get a handle on all your signals and you're in control, right, which is super empowering, I think, when you're in control of your addiction, when you identified it, your triggers, and you're in control, then you can start scheduling those things. And that's like a maintenance thing. I actually will, I have done one fast, and I will do fasts going forward, but they're like a 36 to 48 hour fast where I'll just do a fast and I'll schedule it once a month. It's a good health thing. I think I forget what they call it when your cells recycle the mitochondria, but that's what happens, right? Yeah. So it's not bad. I'm not saying fasting is bad. I'm just saying when you start out, it's probably not the way to go. And doing intermittent fasting is definitely not the way to go. That's just going to happen.
Yeah, regarding mitochondria, one of the things that I do when I'm cycling is there's a type of cycling I do where I maintain a certain heart rate zone while I'm cycling. And I'm not worried about speed, how fast I'm going. I'm just worried about keeping my heart rate in a particular zone. And it's basically an aerobic heart rate zone. And you just try to do it for at least 2 to 3 hours. And what it does, it's well known for really building mitochondria. There's a lot of mitochondria action going on while you're doing that. So as well as when you're in ketosis, you're doing almost the same thing. So I wish there was a way to figure out how healthy your mitochondria is. I'd like to know that, because I treat my mitochondria really well.
You're into all that lab. I don't do the lab stuff. Dave, if you ever have questions about lab stuff or blood serum or anything, Dave's really into all that, which is great. That's something he likes doing. I just listen to my body, but that's me because I don't like all that lab stuff. But I know Dave.
I only did the lab stuff recently. I mean, once a year is fine for me, but I would like to at least because I wanted to get an actual LDL particle count, a very detailed look at my cholesterol, because the last time I took my cholesterol, like a couple of weeks ago, it was like my LDL was like 400, my total cholesterol was about 5, and my triglycerides were like about 100, and my HDL was in the 80s. Well, my doctor at the VA, of course, he freaked out because it went from like 2 something to 4 something.
Yeah.
And of course, he's like, he wants to have an ambulance nearby for me, and I'm like, look, I look at my triglycerides, look at my HDL, and look at my BP, like 110. My BP was 110 over 65. And I've lost 45 pounds according to his chart, and
that's crazy, right?
But he wants to put me on statins. He's like, I insist you really need to be on statins. We need to get a handle on this. I said, look, I'm not going to take statins, but I said, I'm going to go get an actual particle count, and I'm going to go get a CAC score.
Yeah.
If you want, I'll pay for it out of my own pocket. I did it last time, and I had a 0.
I hope my doctor wants to put me on statins soon, because I'm going to ask them, what is the relative risk versus the actual risk?
I brought that up to him. He did not know. He
couldn't tell you.
No. As a matter of fact, he's overweight.
That's what I would say. Listen, you go tell me when you can come back and tell me that you know the difference between relative risk and the actual risk, then we'll have this discussion. But until then, we can't.
So a week ago, I used Dave Feldman's website, ownyourlabs.com. I paid about $60, and actually I got 2 other tests, so it was a total of about 70. I had my A1B checked and some other metabolic stuff, my liver enzyme functions and things like that. Anyway, just what I thought when I did the particle analysis, I do have a high particle count for LDL, but the majority of it is the big fluffy type, as they all say. I have, it showed on there that I had
the healthy stuff.
I had pattern A LDL, and almost everything was in the green except I had a high particle count and my total cholesterol was high and my LDL was high. But like I said, my triglyceride to HDL ratio is right there at 1.5 pretty much, and really high LDL, and I'm a pattern A for LDL, which it's all of the really good doctors that I pay attention to all say the same thing. If you're pattern A, or you don't even have to go, like I didn't even really have to spend that money. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to see it. But all the doctors, Dr. Paul Mason said, all I need to see is your triglyceride to HDL ratio. If it's 1.5 or less, you're going to be pattern A. So I just had to spend some money to do it. I wanted to know.
That's good validation, though. Yeah.
And I'll probably do another test 6 months from now, the same test, just to see what it does, And then after that, I'll probably just leave well enough alone.
Cool. I'll have you on. We can talk about it. Man, that's good. It's good information to put out. So Suni says, I've read that good fats regulate hormones and help reduce inflammation. Yes, that's the fact. That's why we're all losing weight and not getting inflamed. I mean, if you look at pictures of me, there's pictures of me on my Facebook group and online where I was 280 pounds and I looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I'm just totally inflamed. Everything is like the Michelin Man kind of, right? Just like totally inflamed. And now I'm back to normal. It's crazy. And I see that with everyone. I see that with everyone that does this. And it's true for sure. That's a true statement. Let's see.
No farting.
Yeah. So what else we got here? Let's see. Weight loss. Finish weight loss. Oh, here we go. If you have questions, put Q's in here. When your cells recycle, autophagy. That's what it is. I couldn't remember the word. That's exactly what it is. Yes. And that is love from New Mexico. Thank you. Appreciate that, Julie. So when your cells do autophagy, apparently that can help with your loose skin. If you look at Kelly Hogan, where she lost, gosh, I don't know, several hundred pounds, it looks like. And now she's like this skinny bathing suit model. Not skinny, but thin. I mean, she looks totally like she never was overweight in her life, is what she looks like. And you don't see any now that they're saying, that's not everyone will have that happen, but for sure, autophagy and fasting like that when you have excess loose skin can't hurt. And I'm sure that the Carnivore Cure is gonna be doing some of that too, or it has it planned in, because you have to. I mean, either that or you have to do surgery to have removed, or you don't. You just live with it. A lot of people do that too. Let's see. Dr. Chafee was correct about the electrolytes and salt issue. I stopped using added salt. It's been a process, but I experienced much less cramping than before. Okay. I still eat a lot of salt, but I eat a lot of salt. I like salt. I love Redmond real salt. I will eat that on everything. I get those carnivore bars and I eat them at room temperature now, and I've salt both sides of them before I eat them. I love those things, man. I don't know. I'm just addicted. I eat one a day. Just, the thing is, I consider it kind of like supplementation of my diet because it is grass-fed beef and tallow. And so it's really good to have. So, yeah.
Hey, it can't hurt.
Not going to hurt. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I bought those liver crisps that you
you like those?
recommended. Oh, my gosh. I love them, man.
They're good.
I'm thinking about having maybe buying 2 bags a month and eat one, because I ate a bag.
Good supplement too. It's healthy.
Oh my God. I just, I love liver. I grew up eating a little bit of liver once a month, My mom would cook liver and I don't mind liver. It was typically liver and onions, the typical way we made it.
I don't like liver, but I don't think they taste very livery to me. They have a slight flavor, but I mean, it's not like strong.
I think they're pretty. They're not, maybe not as strong as like fresh liver, but they are definitely have that liver flavor.
I like them.
But I do like them, and I'm thinking about continuing, like maybe saying, hey, just ship me 2 bags a month, and like maybe I'll eat a bag one day during the week, and then maybe 2 weeks later I'll have another bag. It's just a good way to get a little bit of something else, in. Because there's a lot of nutrition in liver, so you just don't want to eat liver.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we got a question from Kat. Dave, for the Own Your Labs, did you go to a brick and mortar and get the draw, or was it an in-home thing? You went brick and mortar. Okay.
Yeah. What they do when you order the lab, a doctor associated with that organization is going to place an order for LabCorp. You go to your nearest LabCorp, you print out. You got to bring a hard copy of the order, and you just bring it to LabCorp. They do the draw there, and then you create yourself an account at LabCorp, and you can view the results online. When you get an email that says, "Hey, your lab results are ready," you go online, you go to LabCorp, you go into your little account. And actually, I had a whole bunch of previous, because that's where my primary care doctor sends me to LabCorp. So that's in there as well as maybe 3 or 4 years worth of blood draws from there. But yeah, and then you can choose to share your results with Dave Feldman's charity, where they are actually, I don't know how anonymous it is, but they want to look at everybody. They're just drawing a database
for carnivores.
Yeah, for carnivores. And what he does is they ask you a bunch of questions when you share it, like how many times a week do you exercise? How long did you fast? What is your weight now? Just some things. It looks like they're trying to build some type of a big database. And
that's cool.
Dave Feldman's a great guy. So I said, okay.
UK Carnivore guys signing off, so we'll say goodbye to you. Also, we have Carnivore Backwoods in the house. Now, Carnivore Backwoods just got over 1,000 subscribers, so congrats, man. He deserves it. He's working really hard on this. It's running a YouTube channel is very hard, and it doesn't really pay. Even if you get monetized, it's not really. It kind of pays for some of the subscriptions, but it doesn't really pay. So it's not like a paying gig. Let's see. So welcome, Carnivore Backwoods. Glad to have you, man. Let's see.
Hey, can I tell you an interesting story that happened to me during the week? All right. This is regarding the lab work I had done. So the next day, I coincidentally had an appointment with my new primary care doctor, who's out in the civilian side, not VA. I had lost my primary care doctor, and then I called, and anyway, it's a young girl, probably, I think she looks fresh out of medical school. Okay, well, I was just establishing, a new patient with her, and I printed out my labs, from that I just taken, the particle count. She actually understood it. She was like, "Wow, where did you have this done?" I said, "LabCorp," and she was like, "Wow, you're a pattern A. That's the big and fluffy type." She's like, "Congratulations."
That's nice, right? She knew what
she was like. About. She told me that she did learn a little bit more about lipids in medical school because of some work she was doing, I guess, when she was interning. And she asked me a lot of questions, like, "Do you watch Paul Saladino?" I said, "Yeah, a little bit." I said, I not as much, but I said, I dropped some names who she was kind of familiar with. And when I mentioned Dr. Berry, she said, "Oh, yeah, I know who he is." I said, "Look, how I eat, and she said, "Oh, great, because I don't have any patients that do this. I have one lady who's keto, but no carnivores." She's cool. She sounded like she was like, I understand, I told her, I said, "Look," she saw my cholesterol, and she goes, "Well, I mean, yeah, your cholesterol is really high, but you're a pattern A." And she was more than happy to accommodate the fact that I don't want to take any statins anymore. And she was like, "No, I understand. We'll just monitor. I'll be happy to help you out." She actually referred me to a cardiologist that I've been wanting to see. She said, "Yeah, if you want, I'll go see this cardiologist once a year he's an expert in this stuff. He he's a low carb, high fat type cardiologist.
Yeah.
He was listed on a website of cardiologists that specialize in it. So I'd like to see him once a year, and you know, do my annual labs, and he can take a look at it. And so I was really happy with my new primary care doc. You know, it's more than happy. So
cool. Keto Vorgonian, welcome. Another YouTuber. Go like her channel if you haven't. Check her stuff out. She did the Own Your Labs as well, fasting insulin. Curious, Keto Vorgonian, did you share your results with that doctor who's compiling all that for carnivores?
you get an extra 10% off too if you.
What's his name?
Dave Feldman.
Feldman? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've seen him being interviewed before, right?
Yeah. He's a great, I mean, they've already put out two really good research papers on what they're doing a study on, which are the lean mass hyper-responders.
Oh yeah, I know. That's where you shared it with me. So that's right. We talked about that. I saw that.
I fall into that. So
yeah.
Very interested in his videos.
All right, got some congrats for Carnivore Backwoods. Way to go, John. Carnivore Backwoods, good stuff.
Add something for Kat, if she's still listening.
Yeah.
If you decide to share the information, Kat, they will actually give you an additional discount, like another 10% off. The labs are already discounted because you're going through their organization. So if you want to share your results with the organization, they give you another 10% off. So
that's really cool. All right, so I got a couple questions. Oh, first I'm going to pop up my website, carnivoresoldier.com. This is where you can get those liver crisps. You can also get carnivore bars and anything that I use in my carnivore lifestyle. So I have like my air fryer. So these are just affiliate links. So it's not like I'm getting rich or making a lot of money off this, but these are just Amazon affiliate links. Anything you buy there does help support my mission, Carnivore. Okay, guys. So just want to share that. Check out the website. Also, my podcasts are on there. So whenever I do videos for Mission Carnivore or the Carnivore Way, I actually made a podcast too, so that you can listen to them when you're driving along. All right, Meat Fueled Living. I'm going to do it for sure. Thanks, Dave. So Kat's going to do that. That's cool. All right. I'm just going to bring this up. Are any of your friends or family, Dave, on carnivore? And anyone out there in the comments, go ahead and comment on this. Or if you're watching this later, comment down below. If you're watching now, go ahead and comment on your remarks over there.
Yeah. Okay. I have two friends and a possible third, but I have a fellow chief that I retired from the Navy with. He recently went keto and is kind of thinking about going carnivore, but keto still, it's a huge, massive improvement over what he was on before.
Sure.
But there's nothing wrong with keto, to be honest, because you're in ketosis. But anyway, he's been doing it for a couple of months now, and he's lost, 40 pounds. He was really overweight though. Typical retired chief.
Typical chief.
And anyway, I got a buddy who was was in the Marine Corps for a few years. He retired as a helicopter pilot, and he got out of the Marines, became a pilot with the Air National Guard here in Louisiana. But he was a little bit overweight too. He's a tall guy. He's a big guy, and he went keto as well, but he's more carnivore now, and he's lost quite a bit of weight. But he was doing it mainly for his blood pressure. His blood pressure was just rocketing up there. He said his blood pressure is now normal. He's been on, I would say, like a little over a month now, maybe. He was doing that 90-day carnivore challenge. So we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, there's a young lady that I know, just college age, and she's just starting keto right now, maybe carnivore too. I'm not sure. She's very confused over which one she wants to do, but we'll
I think if you do keto clean, which I never did, because what I did is I'd have salads with salad dressing, which are full of seed oils, which I didn't know that was a big deal. I really didn't. And I thought, well, it's just It's just olive oil or canola oil. I didn't know that was bad for you. I thought they were healthy fats. So, I mean, I saw some people talk about it, but I thought, well, I just discounted that. Like, hey, and I did lose weight, but the inflammation didn't really go away, right?
Yeah, it's so easy to when you're a keto and you're doing 50 to 100, 50 to 75 grams of carbs, I think that's the limit,
It's
maybe
hard.
50. But and it's so easy to go overboard on the carbs when you have that limit, of carbs. But it's easy to go over the 150 grams.
And on top of that, the artificial sweeteners do elicit insulin spikes. So you're still getting, your body's still getting hammered by insulin spikes. Because I used to eat as many of those Quest bars as I thought and then they do the net carbs. It's just all that mumbo jumbo marketing stuff, just like the relative risk thing versus absolute risk, right? It's just a story to get you to buy their product. And I fell into that, and that's why I think I always failed.
When you're on keto, a banana a large banana, some of those bananas will knock you out. It will knock you over the 50 grams. Some of those bananas are 50 grams of carbs, man.
I had a ketosis meter that I blew in, and I bought it was like $70 a year for the app to monitor it, and I had to monitor all the time. And I started that when I started this diet, and it was like maxed out every day. I'm like, okay, I don't need to do this ever again, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, because I'm so used to like monitoring myself, and when I started this diet, it's like, oh, I don't have to buy any subscriptions. I don't have to buy special food. Yeah. I can just eat what animal-based stuff there was, and it's so simple. It is.
Regarding ketosis, Larry, you really don't even have to. You'll know you're in ketosis by the taste in your mouth. Your body, one of the byproducts of being in ketosis is it produces acetone. So you're gonna have this really strong metallic taste in your mouth, and it's also called keto breath. Anyway, I mean, I'm always in ketosis. I don't even need the strips. I know, it doesn't. I don't even bother with the strips because just that strong metallic taste in my mouth from the acetone that's being produced. It's all you need to know.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so Meat Fuel Living has none of her friends or family, which makes it hard. Yeah, it does make it hard. I'm so happy my son is, and proud of him, obviously, for making that grown up. He's adulting, making decisions like that and reaping the benefits in his running. I don't know if you guys saw, but he ran 6 miles for the first time in his life, and he's like, I couldn't even do 3 before. He could barely do 3 before he got on the diet. So now it's that extended energy, right, Dave? Like when you ride 100 miles, it's that extended energy. He doesn't get tired.
Yeah, I mean, if he can continue this, there's no telling. I mean, just think if he decides, hey, I'm going to go into college and keep running. Imagine how good he can become.
I know. It's crazy. I can't imagine what I would have been like, I think, in my, like I said, growing up in the 70s, we had a cleaner diet. It was still a standard American diet, but it was cleaner because we didn't have oils and sugar and everything, right? Not everything was sweet. Yeah. That's not the way we grew up.
I grew up on a small farm too, so I mean, we ate tons of meat to begin with, and seafood. But
we did too. We used to go fishing on the ocean and bring seafood back all the time. And my dad used to bring geese and rabbits home and slaughter them in our garage, and then we'd eat. So we didn't grow up on a farm, but we ate real food.
Yeah, we raised rabbits too. We had on our little, and I was going to say, if I could get my wife on carnivore or at least keto, she eats pretty much a standard American diet. I don't know how she's not overweight. She's not. My wife's Venezuelan. She eats kind of her diet is kind of Mediterranean. She eats a lot of olive oil with everything. She does eat meat, just not as much meat, and she kind of likes the low fat, skinless.
Well, as long as she's getting the cold pressed 100% extra virgin olive oil, then it's safer. It's a lot safer.
Oh yeah. But she like every morning I fix her 3 scrambled eggs and a little slice of her favorite whole wheat toast with a big slab of butter on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as healthy as she eats pretty healthy. But if I could get her on keto, oh my gosh, it'd be so much easier here. Because you're kind of cooking twice, because cooking for myself and kind of cooking for her too. I'm retired. She works full time, so I try to cook for her just to, I don't have anything to do. I'm retired, so
Yeah,
so I don't
so
mind preparing meals.
this week on Monday, I actually got an email from a guy. So I work with wireless vendors sometimes. So there's this one vendor from a company, a big company, that I've been meeting with since March when I first, actually before March, meeting with since January. So he met me before when I was 280. And then in March, we met after like 3 or 4 weeks. We went for coffee and talked, and I'd already lost 15, 20 pounds. And he said, "Hey, you're looking good." So I told him about carnivore. And then we met again, I think it was July, and I had lost more weight and I was looking better. And then he just saw a picture of me on the internet and he's like, "Dude, we're doing this." And he had actually, I talked to him about doing his dogs. I was talking about put my dog on carnivore and the benefits he had. And so I showed him the video and he did that for his dogs. He saw his dogs get great benefit. So finally this week, Monday, he said, "My wife and I are doing it." I'm like, "That's awesome, man." I didn't have to talk him into it. I just shared my, what happened. And he's like, "Wow." He's like, "That's amazing," because he saw the whole transition.
Yeah, I've run into a couple of people, like maybe like a week or two ago that hadn't seen me in a while. Their jaw just dropped, like,
Yeah.
"Man, what have you been doing?" I'm like, "Well, eating good and, exercising, pretty much."
So some people are, it sounds like your mic's kind of chopped up. I don't know if that's your headset, but anyway, are those Apple earpods?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Strange metallic taste in my mouth. Yep. That's probably ketosis. So maybe the battery's running out. I don't know. Okay. So, well, we're almost done. We're 56 minutes into this. I've got to cut this short, guys. I know I normally go more than an hour, but today I've got something to do this evening. I got to run out. That's why I got my nice shirt on. Actually going on a date. So, single guys got to do what single guys do, right? I know. It's every now and then you got to get out. So I'm going to meet up someone and hang out.
Is she keto?
No. But she is from the medical industry. So, and she is listening to my podcasts.
Oh, I gotcha.
So that's good. And
hey, I'm heading to Alabama for a few days, so
okay.
I'll be checking out the hamburger patties through McDonald's if I have to do that. I'm looking forward to trying that out.
I actually like the Wendy's ones too. The Wendy's ones are better, I think. Anyway, but McDonald's are fine. I've done that as well. So yeah, definitely check those out. They're a good, stopgap when you're on the road, and especially when you come down to KetoCon, because you're coming to KetoCon, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So any of you guys want to go to KetoCon, I still have that discount code on my page, and you save $50 on your tickets. It's in Austin. Yeah, Wendy's are better. Meat Fueled agrees with me. I think Wendy's are better burgers. So
I'll try Wendy's if I can, but yeah, I'm bringing along some good snack foods, just to, some boiled eggs and
liver crisps,
sparkling water. I call them my keto M&Ms. That's boiled eggs.
Oh yeah, hard-boiled eggs. That's great, man. But anyway, let's see. Enjoy your date. Thanks for the live stream, guys. Yep, I've really enjoyed it. This was a good little talk. Not going to be too long today, but next Wednesday I have some more guests coming in. Dave, I really want to thank you for showing up. This is great. Nice talking to an old shipmate, and we'll definitely have another one pretty soon.
All right.
Where you'll be invited again. Dave is not a YouTuber. He's just a veteran. And I did interview him on Mission Carnivore. So if you haven't checked out the Mission Carnivore podcast and or videos, go check them out and see Dave's story. It's a good story. Anything you want to close with, Dave?
No, I just want, I just wanted to thank you for inviting me back. And, hey, my only thing is, if anybody's thinking about going carnivore, man, just give it a shot. Do 30 days. Give it 30 days. Give it a little bit longer if you can. Get yourself adjusted, but it's definitely worth the effort. And it's easy.
Yeah, 30 days is really all it takes to find out what's going on. You'll know. I mean, you're not going to wonder, is this working, right? If you're really sticking to it for 30 days, you're going to see some changes. You're going to notice changes for sure. Not saying which ones they will be, but you'll definitely have some changes. All right, Dave, I'm going to drop you out, and I'm not going to stick around afterwards to talk, so you can do it and sign off. I'm just going to sign off from the channel here and say goodbye to everybody. Thanks a lot, Dave. We'll be in touch.
All
nice
right.
shirt. Nice shirt, by the way. Like that.
That's awesome. All right.
All right. Bye. Okay, guys. So that's it. Thanks for joining me for another Hump Day meetup. This has been really good. I'm glad all the other content creators joined us. It's a lot of fun when they chime in. And join us next Wednesday. And until then, stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier out.